Hello, and Ashe. I am making this video for two reasons. One reason is somebody needs to hear this. And the second reason is it's kind of like journaling. I'm going to like sharing a video journal I'm making of myself. The thing I wanted to talk about in this video is called brain balancing and its effectiveness and what it has done for my life personally. First of all, the big thing I want to illustrate here is that I've only been brain balancing for 30 days. I'm sorry, I have all kind of mosquitoes around me. I'm sitting in one of my favorite spots by my home in front of some bamboo plants. I love this area. I come and cut them down and working on beginning some arts and crafts with them, but they just cut the grass and I'm getting ate up by bugs right now. So this is still my sacred space, so I decided to make this video here. Okay. The first thing I wanted to say before I even tell you what brain balancing is that I've only been in this program, incorporating this into my life for about 30 days now. And I say that to say that's how effective this is. There are clear manifestations that have come about in my life that I know is a byproduct of this wisdom, this knowledge, this program that I'm in. And I wanted to share that with you today. First, a little bit about me for those of you who don't know me, and for some who do or may think they know me. I'm going to be a little expositional, a little transparent here. I have been known to be a very temperamental, a very explosive person. I mean, there's two sides to me like there is to everybody. I'm a very loving, I'm a very giving person. I have a gentle side of me. I have a very generous side of me. I have a very intellectual, wise side to me. And if you really know me, you've probably met all those people all at once or all at different times. And the reason that's important for me to explain is because as intelligent as I am, one of my biggest struggles is an emotional struggle. And I've struggled with this my whole life. It's wavered from making me a serious introvert to making me a very explosive person. And it just felt like so much of a part of me. It felt like something that I couldn't change. And I've tried everything. I've tried Jesus. I've tried the Christian church. I've tried, just religion itself. I've tried different philosophies. I've tried different theologies. Just been all over the board trying to figure out myself. And in doing so, I learned a lot of stuff. But I wasn't able to apply any of it in a significant enough way to change myself. And to give you an example of what I mean, I've had so many goals I've set in my life, and I've never been able to bring any of them into fruition. And the reason for that is because no matter how capable I am mentally and how intelligent I was, I would get so far in my goals and my plans and the conception of it. And right before it's about to birth, it's like something would go on in my life, whether it was with my personal life with my children, on my job, and my relationships. And it would just cause this mental shutdown for me. And I went through this cycle my whole life, and it got so defeating that in 2014, I actually completely broke. I mean, I had a complete breakdown to where I went into alcoholism, showed those close to me, which I've apologized and did the best I could to mend these relationships. Some of the most hurtful and explosive behavior they've ever experienced, from my children to my parents to my closest friends. And it got worse and worse as time went on. And eventually, I began to start to look for things outside of alcoholism. It took like 2 years, though. And then let me say it's twofold to that alcoholism, because brain balancing also helped me with that. Now, although I graduated myself up out of the complete full-blown alcoholism, where I was just waking up to get wasted and, didn't even want to have a moment of the day where I wasn't wasted. And I was a heavy weed smoker, too. I had got delivered from that, but I still like to drink often because it was still the only way I could really wind down after some tough days. So I probably still had a cooler or some such at least 4 to 5 nights a week. A wine, a cooler. I'm not really a heavy liquor drinker. In the worst of my alcoholism, I was. But nevertheless, so that complete shutdown came because I got tired of trying. I really just said, fuck life. I mean, that's really what I just said, like, forget it, no matter how hard I try, this just must be where I'm stuck at. I haven't accomplished anything, I just felt horrible. So, I began to look for that silver lining again, and I crawled myself up out of that dark, dark place, but I still wasn't being progressive, and I still couldn't figure out why, because just, it's like I was getting further with things that I wanted to accomplish, but I was still running into that wall, and it was an emotional wall, and I could not figure out why. So let me just fast forward past all of that to say, in mid-July, I came across some information about sacred geometry, and I began to research that. And, I kind of just dibbled and dabbled in it from here and now, doing some of my nighttime studies. And then the universe brought me a lady, brought her into my life actually through Facebook. And she actually had a program that was called brain balancing, and it was incorporating sacred geometry and shapes and such, and visual stimulation. And so it really piqued my curiosity. I wanted to know what this was. And long story short, I ended up participating in this program, and I knew instantly that this is going to change my life, and this is what I want to do. I want to bring this to people because it's really effective, and that's why it's important to keep notating that I've only been doing this for 30 days. First of all, since I mentioned my alcoholism, I want to mention, or the progression and digression of it, I want to mention that when I began the brain balancing program, to stop drinking or smoking weed was not something, that wasn't a goal I set. But I did understand that in order for the brain balancing to work, I had to do it while I was sober. So I never drank around any time. I made sure I was completely sober when I had to do my brain balancing exercises. And I will say now it's been a month, and I have not drank any alcohol beverage absolutely at all. I actually considered it one day, and when I got to this was like 4 days ago, and when I got to the aisle to get it, it's like, I don't want this. I'd rather drink my herbal teas. Kind of addicted to those now, but it's a healthy addiction because a herbal tea a day can help keep the doctor away. But so just things like that. Like, I didn't put any effort into stopping drinking. I just did the brain balancing and allowed it to work within me. And then I also poured the appropriate information into myself. I studied looked into things that were fruitful for me. It began to alter my way of thinking, where things that were not beneficial to me became so clear to me, and I just severed them. I mean, it wasn't a process. It was just like a complete, nope, gotta go. Nope, don't need it. And I think that's kind of what happened with alcohol. I'm not knocking alcohol or weed smoking, because if that's what someone chooses to do, that's your free will. And I'm not saying it's bad or any of that. I'm just saying it's not for me. Not right now. Maybe not ever. I don't know. But emotionally, people who know me personally, they probably haven't really noted it, but if they're watching this video, or if we have a conversation about it and they think about it, I haven't had one temper tantrum all month long. I haven't exploded on anybody emotionally. I've hardly gotten angry. Now, that doesn't mean I didn't feel the emotion of anger. I didn't express that anger in an unhealthy way, because through brain balancing, I have learned how to use my emotions as information, as they're more of indicators on I need to deal with something. The what, when, why, and hows. Why am I feeling this way? What made me feel this way? When did I begin to feel this way? And how can I take action on either embracing this good feeling, or how can I take action on eradicating this bad feeling, or this situation causing this bad feeling? I mean, it's sad to say, but I'm proud to say that I don't remember ever a time in my life that I've went 30 days without screaming at the top of my lungs for something. I mean, I probably was 12 years old the last time. Oh, dang it. And I meant to bring my chart here. So within the brain balancing program, you get a measurement. It measures your mental coefficient and your emotional coefficient. And I wanted to bring the paper, but I can just explain it. So it actually measures your energy field. See, doctors don't talk to you about this stuff, but all those tests they're running, EKGs, EEGs, it's actually measuring and showing your energy field, or what the mystics will call your aura and such. And when we have emotional reactions to things, our brain lets out certain hormones, and those hormones kind of send messages to your body that programs the energy field that you will carry. And so by me having all these emotional explosives, my energy field was just low. And that's why I went through so many highs and lows in my life. And let me let you know, those hormones stay in your body for 30 days. 30 days. So if you have an emotional shutdown today, just because you think you feel better tomorrow, your body is still trying to detox all those poisonous hormones that were just sent through your body and shot off a sequence of mental and emotional actions. But anyway, back to the mental and emotional coefficients. So when I got my testing, you guys, when I tell you my mental coefficient was high, but my emotional, it was actually kind of high enough to make me proud of it. And my emotional coefficient, let's just say it was so low. I'm a 38-year-old woman who had the emotional coefficient of probably a 5-year-old. Yes. And what happens is, because those scales are so off balance, I have a train coming by, so hopefully it doesn't get too loud, or I'll pause it. But because that was so off balance, yeah, I'll pause it. One moment. Okay, I'm back. Probably didn't even notice I was gone because of the way the video edits, but oh well. So anyway, now with my mental coefficients being up very high and my emotional coefficients being down very low, this is why I couldn't accomplish any goals. Because regardless of how intelligent I was, because when something happened in my life, my brain automatically relied on my emotional coefficients to push me through. And because mine was so low, it would completely eradicate whatever my mental coefficients was. Now, some people may believe they're the exception to this rule, but you're not. There are no exceptions. It's in every ancient text, it's in history, it's in science, it's in the law of cause and effect. Whenever there is a cause, there is an effect. Whenever there is an action, there is an effect from that. So let's use like the crazy chick from the movie. You can have this woman, and she's this thriving, driven businesswoman, and she just seems so well put together, and she has the perfect home, and then all of a sudden her husband cheats. And then now she's outside burning his car down. It's like, what happened to this polished woman? Well, no matter how intelligent she was, her emotional coefficients was so low that when she got those emotions rose in her body, certain hormones were released, and those hormones overpowered her logic, and she began to react purely off of emotionalism, which is psychotic, whether you agree with it or not. Right now, if your emotional coefficients is low, you think it's okay to go burn a man's car down for cheating on you. And that's just crazy, because it's not even strategic warfare. You don't benefit anything from that except for emotional gratification, which further proves my point that you're an emotional toddler. So anyhow, I'm proud to say, my environment is reacting differently to me. My relationships with people, I still feel emotions. I still feel anger. I still feel fatigue and frustration and, good emotions. But I stop to think. And a lot of people might be thinking, well, what, when, how, where, and why? Who has time to think about that? Oh, but you do. The fact that your emotional coefficients is so low, you're just adapted to reacting instead of reassessing, instead of looking at the situation. There's always time. There's always time to process the information. That's what the brain is there for. But when you allow your brain to operate off autonomy, that's just as crazy if your hand just started moving around by itself and wasn't doing what you instructed it to do. You do not want the brain to do that. You want the brain to be mastered by you. In the scriptures, it says, take captive every thought that comes up. This is the New Testament. Take captive every thought that comes up against the will of the Most High, or the will of God. And in essence, it's saying that you suspend that thought and you analyze that thought, and then you have an action, not a reaction, but an action formed off the cooperation between your mental capability and your emotional signals. So I'm going to be dropping more videos about brain balancing. I'm actually in the process of building my own brain balancing program. And just as a nugget, my first group I will be having for free because it's to help me grow and develop. But after that, it's gonna probably be it is gonna be a charge program after that, because wherever a man's treasure is, so lieth his heart, and I'm putting my heart and soul into this because I believe in this program because of what it's done for me. I mean, I've had so many challenges come up this month, and none of them have knocked me off my game plan. And I love that. And there's somebody right now who's probably watching this video or needs to, that your life has been running in loops. You keep getting drugged down by your emotions, whether it's stress, depression. All that stuff is toxic and it's unnecessary. Now, are issues going to happen in life? Yes, issues happen to everybody. But the byproduct of issues is not stress. Stress is a byproduct, and depression is a byproduct of having a low emotional coefficients. And so that's all I have to say about that right now. I'm just excited. And like I said, I'm kind of going to journal from time to time on my journey with brain balancing. I'm 30 days in and I see progress. I'm working on my business plan that I just mentioned, amongst some other things. But I'm happy. I'm excited. I mean, this is real genuine inside of me. That's why I'm happy to talk about it, because my spiritual growth is just off the chain. Now, everybody may not desire spiritual growth, but brain balancing is still for you because it can be effective in your life. But for those who desire spiritual growth, let me tell you something. I have some things that have occurred in my life that I won't even mention on this video. I would have to have intimate conversation with you to even divulge those things. And probably within my program, I'll do more of sharing my intimate personal experiences. Because, baby, let me tell you, if you're talking about psychic abilities, you're talking about really being able to let out some prayers that move mountains. I mean, let me tell you something. My son, not only me changing my emotional coefficients has altered my son and our relationship. And I mean, I'm telling you, just 30 days ago, he and I were War of the Roses. I'm telling you. And now it's so loving. It's so affectionate. And part of that is, for one, I've re-altered my DNA and I've rebuilt my emotional energy field. My energy field around me. So everything in my environment has to react according to the frequency I'm on, or you can't penetrate that bubble anyway. But secondly, I want to say that my behavior has changed him, and it's also made me be able to cope with who he is as a teenager better. And like I said, in prayer, my prayers for him, it's like everything that I prayed for is just like becoming manifest in him. And it's a two-way street. It's the cause, the action of me changing who I am, but it's also prayers, honey. It's some real intercession that goes on that spiritual world. So for all of those things, stay tuned and I'll be back with more. I say.